Well, hey everybody. I'm Jeanette. This is Jill. You
Hey,
know
Jill.
us. We are popping on here. Oh, we already got a couple peeps here. Thank you for coming. We're doing a little free training today, and then we have a major announcement at the end. Say hello, let us know that you're watching live or on the replay, and smash that heart button so we know that you love us.
If
We
you're
got
watching this
Billy.
live, just drop a hashtag live so that we know that you're here.
Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it. Again, we're gonna do a little free training in here, and then we have a humongous announcement for you at the end. So stick around.
Nice to see everybody here. So, are you ready? Let's get jumping in because we have a lot to cover today. We are
Right.
going to kind of give you a sneak peek of everything that we're going to be talking about in our huge announcement, which we're really excited about. So, let's get right into it.
Okay. We're gonna share our screen here so you guys can see what we're talking about. Oh, how did he get rid of those comments on the side there? Oh,
Getting
that's
them.
me. There we go. There we go. So you can read it.
Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to go through four topics today. And the first one is the tech stuff. And we are also going to talk about creating content and editing your content. And we're going to go through repurposing content and why that's important and when you do and when you don't. And then we're also going to touch a little bit on the sales process and how that works inside of your business. So we're going to start out with a tech and kind of travel right through all four of those because they all kind of are connected really well. So as far as like the tech stuff, one of the things that I think that works really well for both Jeanette and I is the simpler the better. And it really works because you have less stuff to keep track of. And if you have started out in any type of affiliate marketing, there's a lot of stuff that people recommend and having all these different programs. And we did all that in the very beginning. We did all the sales funnels, we did all the connecting everything and all this stuff. And now I think both of us use a very basic system. And our very, very basic systems are an autoresponder and a Facebook group. And one of the things that I want to talk about is when you need a Facebook group and when you need a funnel and all that kind of good stuff, because a lot of people ask me about that. So we're going to talk about it today because there's a really important distinction when you need one or the other. So the tech to a lot of people is like smoke mirrors, right? Like things either happen or they don't. And it's the same as when it comes to like trying to set up your autoresponder. The hardest part about the autoresponder is really getting your DNS settings ready. And what that means is that when you get an autoresponder and when you are setting up your business, the two things that you need is an autoresponder and a domain. And the reason why you need both of them is your domain is actually what's going to give you a professional email. And the reason you want a professional email is because you want to end up in somebody's inbox. And in the end of it is that if you get a Gmail account, chances are you're going to end up in somebody's spam folder. It's really how it is. And I don't know if you guys have gotten any emails. Like if you signed up for anybody's programs and some of them have come through a Gmail, you know that they end up in your spam folder. So going that way from the very beginning, you're going to end up there and people aren't going to see your emails and you're not going to have as much success because you're going to never be seen. So what the domain gets for you is a professional email address. And that's really the only piece of that domain that you need. There are other things that we can do that will actually, you can use your domain, but the end all be all is that really what you want is your professional email. Because if the only two things you wanted to do was an autoresponder and send somebody an email, those are the two things you need. That's about as basic tech as you can get, just having those two systems. And that's really, we can talk you through the rest, but if you wanted to go bare minimum, that's it for tech. Um, and the hardest part about those two pieces of tech is getting them connected. And all that is a DNS entry. And that is one of the things that I'm not going to go through it today because we have so much to cover, but it is something that I can show you the basics and you would be able to probably go and do it and even give you a walkthrough. So the tech stuff is The one thing that's really, really great about the tech stuff, though, is that once you get it done and set up, it is done. It's finished. You move on. You don't really have to go back and deal with any of that stuff. And I think a lot of people get hung up on that, on the tech, and they don't never make it through the tech, and they're already giving up because they can't deal with the tech, when the really the biggest part of it is once you're through it, you're finished with it. It's not the hardest part of this whole business, getting everything set up. The hard part actually comes after. However, the tech part, I think, is the most frustrating part, but it's not the hardest part.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that, though, when they're getting into it. And once it's done, it's done. And there's one really big distinction between how we run our business and how other people run their businesses, and that is whether or not you have a sales funnel or not. And a lot of the programs out there recommend that you sign up for a sales funnel right away. And to me, that decision comes down to what type of business you're going to have. There are two different types of businesses when it comes to affiliate marketing. There's low ticket and there's high ticket affiliate marketing. Let me try to explain when you would have one over the other. And if I was going to tell you to do something in the very beginning, I would highly suggest considering a high ticket. But let's talk about the low ticket first, and I'll give you some examples of that, because it's probably the example that you saw when you signed up to do affiliate marketing. It's probably the piece of information that you said, oh, I could do that, because they make it look like it's so easy to do, when actually what's happening behind the scenes is not as easy as it looks, and you don't really know that piece. So let's talk about how low ticket works. So when you were probably looking at affiliate marketing, you saw somebody that was giving you an example of Amazon, and they were telling you about how this person was showing this product, and look at how many views they got on it and how many sales that they got on it. And even if out of all the million views, if the smallest percentage of people bought that product, how much money they would make. And to me, that is a clickbaity kind of a video, because what frustrates me about that particular example is that they are making it look so easy, when the hard part is not about what's going on the screen, but the hard part is actually, how do you get the audience that's that big? Because if you've tried to make any kind of content at this point, you'll realize that the trick is actually in the content and being able to attract your audience. And what they're showing you is something that somebody else has created, an audience of millions and millions of people. And most people don't have an audience that large. And so Amazon products work really well in that environment, because the commission base is low. So like if you have, and it doesn't matter, I'm using Amazon as an example, but we're talking about any type of a commodity type of item, like Amazon or Target or Walmart. All of their commissions base are usually between 4 and 8%. And so you have to sell a lot of product to make a reasonable amount of money. So if you think about selling $100 product, 4% of that is still only $4. You have to sell a lot of products to be able to make a reasonable income. And that's really hard to do without a really large audience. So in that case, those larger audiences work really well with that model. But as a beginner affiliate, that takes you a long time to get up to an audience of that size. So that large audience in that whole scenario is kind of the magic in the model, where new affiliates don't have that magic yet. So for people that are just starting out, if you have a high ticket, you can drive actually less traffic, which usually works better with a smaller audience, to products where the commission is at a different rate than a 4%, where it might be at a 50%. So that's where the high ticket comes in, because it's a lot easier to sell a few than to sell a lot. So if you're working on a high ticket type of product that's $1,000 and the commission is 50%, you can see where it's a lot easier to make a reasonable income using a high ticket than it is to use a low ticket, because you don't need to have as much traffic coming through your system to be able to make an income that would actually make an impact on your life. So that's where the high ticket portion comes in. And that's where the decision comes for your back office. And the reason that's a decision is, if you're thinking about those two different business models and how they differ from each other, one of them is you're just putting a lot of people through the same system that are coming through, like your sales funnel and going to Amazon, Target, Walmart, whatever store on the other end you want to name. And so you're putting a lot of people through your sales funnel, and really for the volume, that's the only way you can do it is by using a sales funnel. Whereas in a high ticket, you have a much lower volume, but you're going to have a lot more questions, and you're going to have a lot more people that need support, and a lot more people that probably is going to need your help making it through and being successful. So one of them, you don't really want the contact, where the other one, it's almost a necessary thing to help people along and be successful in the business. So having a sales funnel in a low ticket makes sense. Having a sales funnel in a high ticket doesn't always make sense, because you want them to be able to have access to you so that you can help them through the process. So deciding what type of business you want is going to also push what types of technologies you're going to need in your business. And that's where your decision is going to come from. So if you're going the high ticket, which I highly suggest as a new affiliate, then you don't really necessarily need the sales funnel. And I would suggest that you don't use one, because it's just an added layer of complication that when you're first starting out and trying to learn so many different things, it's one thing that you just don't need. But if you're going the low ticket, then it's something you do absolutely have to actually, because you don't want to, if you're doing Amazon products, you don't want to talk to every person that comes through yours about whatever book you're talking about, or whatever insert commodity item here you're talking about. So it really comes down to what type of business you're setting up. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a reason to have both of those, because I'm sure that Jeanette has them too, that you end up having like a group of products. And so you probably will have some things from Amazon that you might recommend, but your main product is your high ticket. And so that still means that you still only want to have like a Facebook group, and it's a lot easier to manage, honestly. So cutting down on your tech and really getting smart on actually what you need is really important from the get-go, because it's going to save yourself a lot of headaches. I know it would have saved me a boatload of them, and I actually have an IT background, so tackling some of these wasn't as probably challenging for me as it was for some people that come into it and don't know anything about domains. So if you can figure this piece out, you're going to save yourself so many headaches, because it's not easy stuff to navigate through, especially when you're just trying to learn even how it all works. So what's your opinion, Jeanette?
Yeah, I wasted probably the first 4 months of doing this, trying to make a funnel, just a funnel part of it. And then I spent so much extra time just perfecting the funnel, or having the right background, or changing fonts. Like, no one cares. No, you really don't need any of that. And when I stopped focusing on that and started focusing on just getting the easy stuff down, getting the email autoresponder up, and creating my Facebook group and creating a community, that's when this business really started to change for me. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people do. They just waste a lot of time
I
just
agree.
trying. And then even if you get the funnel down, which by the way, I never did. So I don't even know what I did for the 4 months, because it's not like I can build, it's not like I can really build. I'm getting all these clicks, but nothing's converting. Like I'm not getting any sales. So you're like, oh, it's got to be the funnel. And then you're back to the funnel, making a new background, when really none of that shit matters. Nobody cares what the funnel looks like. They just want the end result, the product, or, whatever you're promoting. So just focusing on the basic things, and then learning the skills that you need to convert people from I'm looking at your thing to I'm buying your thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that part of what I did was, I know that a lot of places they'll give you the funnel and stuff like that, but a lot of it is just trying to get it to work, like
Yeah.
making sure that all your buttons are pointing in the right direction. And then,
Yeah, it's not my thing.
you
I
know,
don't come from tech, so clearly I don't.
oh,
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but learning that you don't need all that stuff after months and months and months of being told that you do, it's pretty eye-opening, and it really changes it up, because like Jill said, you really don't. Unless you're trying to sell a lot of low ticket stuff and you're trying to go viral, I don't recommend it. That's not easy either. you know?
Well, and I mean, it is fun when you first go viral too, but well, it's a good actually because we're actually gonna be talking about content next, so
Yeah.
this is actually a really good one, but
Yeah.
going viral too has its pluses and minuses when it comes to, like, what is happening in your business. I haven't actually never I've only had one that did really well. I've never gone viral, but I've only had one that really did really well, and, it's eye-opening because I think when you're first starting out, you're looking for that to happen, and then you realize, "Maybe that's not really what I wanted to have happen."
And then I don't even know, like, what the number is on going viral, but the first video that did good for me, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm an internet star." Like, other people are like, "You need to be in the millions to go viral." I'm like, "Alright, whatever. My one good video is
Yeah,
viral to me." But
yeah.
yeah, like Jill says, there's definitely pros and cons to going viral. Alright, yeah, let's jump right into content since that's in my opinion, content is the most important thing in this. And that's because your content is going to bring you your people. So, a couple things we're going to talk about when you're creating content. The first thing is you want to identify who you're talking to. If you try to appeal to the masses, you're not going to attract anybody. You need to figure out who your perfect client would be, and then you need to figure out what they are, let's say, struggling with or what they need, and then your content should be focused towards that perfect client. You want to allow people to I feel like people hear this a lot, the know, like, and trust you. And there's a real power in that because when people get to know you, it becomes more personal, and then people feel more comfortable when making the purchase. And I know a lot of people are like, "Ugh, I'm too fat," or "I hate the way I look," or "I talk funny, I never know what to say," and but people will like you for you. I know that's a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's very true. People are gonna like you for you. The reason that me and Jill have been successful is because we are 100% ourselves, if you couldn't tell. And this is how we have attracted our people. This is how we've attracted the people that have come into our communities because we are ourselves and we talk about ourselves. We talk about the stuff that we've been through and, how we can help you. And that's really what brings people in. So, regardless of what you look like, what you sound like, I don't know what to say. There's going to be 1,000 people out there that don't know what to say, and they're going to see you and be like, "Oh my God, that's me." And it's gonna attract people right in. So, definitely be yourself in your content. That was another huge shift in my business. I was doing the videos like everyone else was doing on how to make money online. I guess the clickbaity shit is basically what I was doing. And doing all the stuff, I was looking at the big dogs who were making all this money, and I was just basically copying their content, and guess what? I got nowhere because I wasn't being myself, and when I started just talking how I normally talk, being ridiculous in my videos, and, that's when I really brought everybody into my community. So, a couple of things yeah, you definitely don't need funnels. We are the no funnel tribe. So, a couple things, when you're making content, you wanna mix in your personal stuff with your business. So, again, all the stuff that you're going through in creating your business, that's stuff that you should be sharing because that is going to draw people in. Being you, literally being you, 100% you in your content is what is going to make you succeed. There's a couple of types of content that I kind of go by when I'm making my short form videos. First one is entertain because a lot of people are on social media to escape their let's say the lives that they're not too happy with. And if you can make some people laugh, that's definitely going to help. I am completely ridiculous and making people laugh is my favorite thing. So that's a big part of my content. Second thing you want to pop into your content is you want to educate people. You want to teach to your level. If you're a beginner, then that's what you should be talking about. What are things that you're struggling with in your business? Talk about it and what you did to overcome it. That's what you should be talking about. That's what's going to bring people in, letting them know the struggles. Somebody just said Jill knows mine well.
That's Nikki.
I love it. Yeah, that's what's going to bring people in. Talk about what you're going through. That's, believe it or not, that's what's going to attract people, because there's probably 100,000 other people that are going through the same thing and they're going to relate to you. You want to be relatable in your content. That's how you're going to bring people in. The third thing I do in my content is anything motivational. It kind of goes with the educate, showing people how you've overcome your struggles, how you've overcome some of your fears. That is going to help people overcome theirs. They're going to use you. I don't want to say it like that. They're going to, or whatever. I mean, if that works, then do it. But they're going to, what you're going through and you being open and honest about it is going to help people come out of their shell. It's going to help people do what they want to do. And then the last thing, I mean, it all kind of ties in together, your story. Share your story. People love a journey. I recently talked about how I'm going to be losing my job shortly. And the following I got just from that one video, I was like, oh, come watch my journey for the next 4 weeks as I cry and laugh my way through. I got so many comments on that about people were like, this is awesome. But there's a lot of people that are going to be in your shoes, so don't be afraid to talk about your story. Don't be afraid to talk about what you're going through, because that's really going to help out. It's really going to attract your people. Again, you don't want to talk to the whole world, because you could have all these people come into your world and then they don't want to buy any of your shit. So what's the point? You want to attract the people that you want to come to you. That's really that's how it makes it easier for you to transition to the sales part of this. What do you think, Jill?
I think that probably the most important piece in all of that too is not trying to attract every single person out there, that you're really trying to attract people like you would normally attract them in your life. And so being really truly you and sharing what you're about and sharing your frustrations, I think that is probably the most important piece of information in that whole thing, because that is going to speak to people just like it does in real life to people online. And when you're trying to attract too many, you don't end up attracting anybody at all, because you're not really talking to anybody. Because, like when you're scrolling through TikTok and you come across that video and you stop because they're actually speaking to you, that's kind of what you're trying to do.
Yep, absolutely. All right.
Repurposing. So repurposing is an interesting topic because everybody talks about it a lot, and it's something that takes a fair amount of time. And in my personal opinion, what I think is when you're first starting out, that you are so much better off to actually master one particular platform before you move on to any type of repurposing, because this whole thing is such a huge learning experience and you're trying to learn so many different pieces. Not only are you trying to learn everything, but you're also trying to learn the platform. If you're anything like me anyways. So let me back up. When I first started, I did not do social media anywhere. I had a Facebook, but I hadn't posted on it in years. I had signed up for TikTok, and I'm not even quite sure why I signed up for TikTok, but I did. I'm sure with a whole group that signed up because you were bored during COVID.
You're trapped in your house.
So I signed up for TikTok.
That'll do it.
Yeah. And so you're trying to learn all these different social medias. And being a browser of a social media is so much different than being a content creator of social media, that even if you're familiar with that particular platform, you still need time to like wrap your head around how to do all of this. So I would highly suggest really concentrating on mastering one first. So once one of them is mastered, then yes, repurposing and spreading yourself out, the first thing you want to do is create yourself an omnipresence. And by omnipresence, I mean like anywhere that your people are, then you want to be in that space as well. So if you start out on TikTok, which I would suggest starting out on TikTok, it is probably the most forgiving platform out of all of them to start creating content and making your mistakes, because you're going to make them when you first do it. And TikTok doesn't really care what happened previously. All they want to know is, how is this video doing? And should I push it out to more people? So it's very forgiving in that kind of way. And so starting there and making your mistakes or figuring out how to structure your content, there is a particular structure to your content that you need to kind of master so that you can figure out how to get the content seen and seen longer and longer and longer, and like paying attention to your analytics and all that kind of good stuff. So I would highly suggest one. So now that you have that one platform mastered, how do you repurpose your content? There's a couple different ways, and I'm going to talk about free ways and actually paid ways so that you have an option of whichever works for you. If you're talking about a free way, the only way that has ever worked for me has been a site called Snaptick. And I know that there's others out there, and I have tried others out there, but this one worked the best for me. And it's snaptick.app. And I think Jeanette uses it on her phone. I personally use it on my computer. And the one thing that you cannot use Snaptick as, though, is an app, even though it says Snaptick app. You can't use it as an app because it costs you money. But if you use it as on a browser, then it's free. So even if you're on your phone, if you use it in your browser, you have to use it in like your Safari or whatever.
Yeah.
If you have an Android, you have to use it on. Yeah. So Snaptick has worked for me. And so basically what you do is you take the URL, or you copy the link to your TikTok and put it into Snaptick, and it removes all the watermarks and stuff like that. So the watermark is that little piece that says TikTok on it. And a golden rule is to never put a video on another platform with a watermark on it. Most other platforms will actually not push your video out if it has that watermark on it. So you want to make sure you take that watermark off before you put it anywhere. And that means if you're taking it from Instagram and putting it someplace else, you also want to make sure that you take it without the watermark. And I never take anything out of Facebook, but I'm pretty sure, Jeanette, you said that doesn't come with a watermark, right?
If you make a reel, there is no watermark.
So, but if you're coming from TikTok, then make sure that you take the watermark off first, and you can do that through Snaptick. So that is one option. The other option, on as far as free is concerned, you can also come out of TikTok and create your videos in an app, which is on your phone, and it's called CapCut. And there is also a browser version of it if you wanted to do it on your computer. But CapCut on your phone has a pretty good editor. And actually, if you are on TikTok at all, you'll see a lot of people are using CapCut these days. And it's a pretty good editor. I've made a couple in there, and it is certainly something that you can use. And the one thing that's kind of great about that is once you're in CapCut and your video is all done and you've put all the fancy stuff on it and everything, you can push it right to TikTok, and it goes and gets put into TikTok into your drafts, and you just need to go post it. So it's all done. You can just go and finish it off and push it out in TikTok. You can also push it out to, I believe, Instagram and Facebook, but there's a catch with Facebook. So if you are using your personal profile in Facebook, the program Facebook does not allow any third-party apps to speak to a personal profile on a reel. So it means that you cannot push any reels automatically, no matter what app you're using, to Facebook. So if you are using your personal profile, that will always be a manual. You always have to push it manually to Facebook, no matter what app you're using. So if you're using CapCut, you're going to have to load it from your phone up into your personal profile Facebook Reels. If you post it through from your CapCut into Facebook, it's going to post it into your feed, which is different than your Reels. Your feed is to your profile. So it never goes to your Reels, and you get a much better reach in Reels than you do in your feed. Reels is like Facebook's answer to TikTok.
Yep.
So you always want to post those inside your Reels and not in your Facebook feed. So if anybody has any questions about that, please drop it in the comments. I'm happy to answer about it because I know that it can be confusing. Um,
Yeah, and like all the apps, just like a little side note, all the apps are like competing with each other. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, the list goes on, but those are the basics. And because TikTok became so popular during COVID, like when we were all trapped in our houses, now Facebook has developed Facebook Reels. Instagram now has Reels. Is that what they call them? It's the same
mhm,
thing. It's Facebook.
yep.
YouTube now has YouTube Shorts. Pinterest now has idea pins, which can be like short form content. So everybody is now competing with TikTok and trying to make their own thing. But in the past, I would say few months, Facebook Reels have been getting a lot of reach, where a lot of videos have done way better on Facebook Reels than any other social media platform. So even though you would have to do that manually, like you should, because the Reels are really getting a lot of push on them, which
And
is good.
most of my videos do much better on Facebook than they do on TikTok.
Mhm.
So I have much better luck on Facebook. I personally don't spend a whole lot of time on Instagram, so I can't really speak to that. I do post
Yeah.
my things out there, but I honestly don't spend a whole lot of time there.
Yeah, even though
Um,
Instagram's owned by Facebook, it's a different animal. Like, there's so many different, like, rules in Instagram
yeah,
that I just post stuff there, but I don't really, like, focus on that app.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
me either. But I'm the same. So for sure. So the other option, it is a paid option, but it's actually the option that I personally use. I don't know if Jeanette uses it or
I
not,
do.
but I
Yep.
personally use this one and Repurpose.io. If anybody wants an affiliate link, just ask either of us. We're both an affiliate for them. So it is, and there's two payment options, which I'll get to, but Repurpose.io it is connected to your TikTok. So it automatically pulls your TikTok out. You don't have to do anything. It automatically takes the TikTok out and saves it wherever you tell it to save it. So you can set up and this is the reason why I don't go into Instagram because I have my Repurpose.io automatically pushing it into Instagram. Again, this does not work going into a personal profile in Facebook because Facebook doesn't allow that. My answer to that is I actually have my videos put into a Google Drive, and I would highly suggest doing that anyway because all of these apps are at any time you can get your account shut down. And
Mhm.
if you are saving your videos to a drive someplace, I happen to save mine to Google Drive. If you have a different place you save yours, then that's up to you. But it means that every single one of my videos is saved. So if something happens to my account, I have all the videos I've ever made saved in one place. So I have them all because it automatically does it. I don't have to do anything to it.
And it
And
removes the whole
Repurpose.io is relatively new, but it has worked. It has made a night and day difference in my business, and it automatically pushes out to Instagram and YouTube. So that's what I have it doing right now. And then I just grab it out of my Google Drive and post it up to my Facebook. So it does, and it pulls off the watermark for you, so you don't have to do anything else. So you basically end up with a clean video once it's done. So I really like that, but I also understand that $25 a month isn't for everybody. So there is the option of SnapTik.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I post mine to Pinterest too.
Oh, do you? Oh, I don't
Yeah,
post my Pinterest.
yeah. Just enough, like, why not?
Yeah, why not? It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
All right. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the sales process. Dun dun dun. I know a lot of people are like, ooh, when they hear a sales process. But I don't mind the sales process because my soon to be no longer day job is sales. I do sales for a living. So I know how this part of the process can be overwhelming. It's kind of scary. It's awkward. You automatically feel like you're going to be slimy, but it's not the case here. So you get people into your group, you're chatting, and then you're like, "What am I supposed to say? I don't wanna ask for the sale too soon. I don't wanna seems slimy. I don't know how to go from chit-chatting to selling, and what if people are like, "No," right off the bat, and then you're like, "I can't do this." I don't know if it's as dramatic as I just made it, but you know what I mean. Those are the those are the things that are most likely going through your head. And just like making content, which is very awkward and weird in the beginning, talking into a camera, the sales is the same thing. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It's gonna be uncomfortable the first couple times you do it because it's not something that you do all the time, just like anything else. First time you get on a treadmill, it's gonna be awkward and you're gonna be out of breath and you're gonna be sweating. You're like, everybody's looking at me. And then, 2 weeks later, you're like, look at me, speed walking. So it's the same thing. It's going to get easier and easier and easier as you do it. The way that we are doing this is we are making our content to bring people to us. So the sales process is easier because people know what your community is about, what you're offering, what you're selling. So you have a Facebook group about, I don't know why I always go to sneakers, but that's like my thing. If you It's really not my thing, I'm not into sneakers at all, but if you have a Facebook group and you're selling, like, the latest Nikes, you're making content about that. People are coming into the group, and then you're like, "Hey, I got these brand new Nikes." They're not gonna be like, "What? I was looking for garden tools." You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. So, the sales process is easier because people know why they're there, they know what you're offering already, so it's not such a shock if somebody seems interested in what you're selling and then you ask them if they want to buy it. But you do want to have conversations with people. When people come into your community, you want to get to know them. You want to know why they're there. What are they looking for? What are they struggling with? What are their questions? You don't just want to be like, here's my shit, buy it. That's not usually. Every once in a while, somebody's going to come in and be like, hey, I want to buy your shit. And you're going to be like, here you go. But the usual is you wanna have a conversation, you wanna get to know people, and then that conversation ultimately turns into you making an offer for the sale. So, really, don't put your link on people. People don't like that. That's slimy, in my opinion, just shoving your link. One big part of the sales process here is follow-up. Follow-up is key. This was when, my 9 to 5 job, this was a big part of the sale. So, even if somebody seems interested and you ask them, you make the offer for the sale, and they're kinda like, "Ooh, I don't know, let me wait till payday," or, I mean, there's a million objections that you could get. If somebody showed an interest, follow up with them. It's not pushy, it's not sleazy, they showed interest in it, so there's nothing wrong with asking again. Follow-up is key. So keep that in mind in the sales part of this. Again, you're using content to bring people into your world, so they're not gonna be confused when you make your offer for it. Anything to add here?
The only thing that I would add is that a lot of your content should actually answer a lot of the information. So by the time you get
Mhm.
to your group, like what Jeanette was saying, is that they should already know a lot of this.
Yeah.
So what you're offering shouldn't be a surprise. And I mean, most of you are in our groups. You know that we love group juice. So like if any of us were to say, "Hey, I think it's like group juice could be a really good fit for you," or maybe we know you well enough because we've had enough conversations with you that maybe group juice isn't the right thing, so we probably wouldn't offer that. So it's kind of like knowing your people that way so that you know what to offer them, and being kind of like someone that's there to make the best recommendation that you can based on the information that you have, not
Mhm,
just pushing a link.
mhm. And also in the sales process, you have to get okay with hearing the word "no." Doesn't mean you're gonna hear it all the time, but if you get used to hearing that word, it's not as sharp as it was the first time you heard it. So, they say it takes about, I think it's 7 to 10 no's to hear a yes, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And just because somebody said no the first time doesn't mean that they're not gonna come back and be like, "Well, I thought about it," you know? So, once you get used to hearing that, again, this is all like just like everything else in this process, it becomes easier as you do it. So, it's uncomfortable in the beginning. It is. All of this is uncomfortable in the beginning.
I
And
tell you
then
what, I think probably the thing that I had the most trouble with was creating content. I really struggled with that. I don't think that was your struggle, but it was certainly mine
Yeah.
when we first started doing all this. Oh my gosh.
And number one rule in all of this is don't give up. You can't give up. Like, if me and Jill would have gave up, we wouldn't be here right now talking to all of you. And like your night wouldn't be as good as it is right now. So
Yep, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And none of this is easy, and so know that you're going to have rough days because this is not an easy it's not an easy venture, and I don't want anybody to think coming into this is going to be like, next week you're going to have all this mastered because you're not. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot to learn, and everybody struggles with different aspects of this. Everybody struggles with different pieces, and kind of figuring out where you struggle, like where Jeanette and I struggle. We struggle in different places, but that's why we lean on each other too. If I have a question about something, I ask Jeanette. If Jeanette has a question about something, she asks me.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Listen, all those people that are saying out there, like, just post this link and you make 10K a month. It's the best job ever. They're not lying. I mean, it is the best job ever, but yeah, the likelihood of that happening is not likely. So, and all those people that you see out there that maybe they are making a lot of money, this didn't happen overnight for them. And they busted their asses for it. They just don't show that. Like we openly talk about it, but a lot of people don't. So, don't be fooled by that. Yeah, we don't care for that clickbaity crap. We like to talk the truth because we have both fallen for a lot of that clickbaity shit.
yes, we have. But that's
And
why we're here.
yeah, yeah. So we're here to spread the truth. And speaking of the truth, we have a big announcement for everybody.
Oh, it's time. Oh, good.
So here's our big announcement.
I'm so excited. So obviously, we've named this group the Vibe Tribe. And we have named it the Vibe Tribe because we are going to be joining forces to have a really awesome 4-day event, actually going into detail what we've covered here. So, this was just the sneak peek, the basics of each one of these. And so, each one of these topics is actually going to be an entire 1 hour long training to get you through, plus a Q&A on the back end of each one of these.
We can send this, obviously, we can send this to everyone so you can read it. But it's the Vibe Tribe. If you guys want the doc, if you want to check it out, drop it in the comments, hit us up in Messenger, send smoke signals, fly a pigeon, whatever you need to do, and we'll get this over to you. But we're going to show you exactly what's in here. So, as we said, 4-day mastermind with myself and Jill. I mean, 4 days of us. Come on.
Exactly.
We'll be doing lives just like this. And like Jill said, there's going to be an hour-long training, and then we're going to follow it up with a Q&A. So day 1, we're going to be setting up your back office. Clearly, that's going to be the day that Jill teaches.
And what this day is going to be is I will step you through how to do it so that you have a video that you can walk through how to do it. And I will be doing just how to connect your domain and your autoresponder. So it'll be that piece right there. And I'll probably do it between just whatever. I have my domain, which is through Namecheap, and then through a autoresponder. I'm not sure which one yet.
Day 2, creating and editing content so you can bring your people to you instead of you going out and chasing everybody. We're going to be doing the editing part of it in TikTok because that is where we both like to create videos. I feel that they have the best like editing on there as opposed to any other app. So that's where we'll be doing it. And it'll be like an actual training where like my phone is on the screen so you can see like how you would actually create the content and edit it inside the app. Day 3. We're going to show you how to repurpose like we talked about today, but obviously more in depth. so that you can have what they call omnipresence, where you are everywhere so everybody knows who you are. That's, I mean, obviously, the more your face is out, the more people can see you, the more sales you're likely to make, and the more people you can bring into your community. Day 4 is the sales process. So I really just did like a little snippet of the sales, but I'm going to be diving into like how to overcome objections, how to move from conversation to a sale, and how to build relationships so that you can convert that into a sale without being sleazy or gross or pushy, I guess is a better word. In addition, Jill, tell them what they get with these fancy pants bonuses.
We're also going to be providing you with like a productivity tracker, which is basically the things that you should do every day to move your business and how to figure out what those things are. So we're going to give you a tracker that says these are the activities you should be doing every day, and give you like a spreadsheet so you can keep track of it by day if you got them done or if you didn't, and kind of keep track of your progress and what's happening in your business in the back office kind of thing. Yes, but wait, there's more. We're going to give you some calls to action that you can use. And if you're not using any calls to action yet or don't even know what that is, then this is part of content and how you set it up, what our recommended hashtags are, and how you use hashtags, which is different depending on the platforms that you're on. And then, of course, our sales script and what we use as going through conversations inside of DMs. Yeah, accountability, that's huge. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. So
absolutely.
yeah, the sales script is huge. I know that I use it all the time. It's something that I always refer back to. So yeah, that's really helped me. And the productivity tracker is, to me, like I'd be lost without it.
Yeah. And I just want to talk about this. The reason why we have come together, well, it's because I love
We're
Jill and
awesome.
she's awesome.
Yeah.
We have both collectively grown our Facebook groups from 100 people to 3,000 people in just under 30 days. We did it right around the same time, too. So, we're going to teach you guys like how we've done that and what our system is to have brought that many people in quickly. The other thing is we have closed 32 sales in the past 90 days. And together that has resulted in over 22,000 in sales in the last 5 months. Now, we're not saying that to brag. We're just telling you that these are actual results. And this is why we've decided to come together, because we would like to share this information with everyone. Because I want to say, before the last 5 months, we were kind of like, what are we doing? And then both light bulbs went off in our heads probably around the same time, and we were able to really smash it. So that's why we decided to create the Vibe Tribe. And we hope you guys are going to jump in. It's going to be awesome. Oh, this is a good part too. This is not a done for you program. So we're going to show you how we've done it. We're going to show you what we do, but we're not going to do it for you. We're not going to, this is not like a copy and paste system like a lot of programs that you see online. This is not going to be copy and paste, because the reason that we've been so successful in doing this is because we've built our own businesses and not someone else's. We didn't use copy and paste. We've done this all from stuff we've figured out. We've had help naturally, but it was never a copy and paste thing. So we want to teach you guys how to build your own business so that you don't have to rely on anybody else. This is a good question. How is it possible to find time to do this with a full-time job?
You know what? We both work a full-time job.
Mhm.
Both of us do.
Yep.
So it is certainly something that, am I busy? I'm busy all the time. I basically don't watch television anymore. I mean, I'm doing this. So yeah, it's busy, but I'm not doing this every night. One thing that really helped me, so when I first was doing this, I felt like my entire life was consumed by trying to figure all this stuff out.
Mhm.
And then you start to kind of develop different habits and stuff like that. And it isn't until you figure out what your habits are that it really kind of, you can narrow it down. The productivity tracker was huge for me
Yep.
because it gave me things to focus on every single day. And a lot of people in my group, and I know that Gracie, you're in my group, hear me talk about my non-negotiables and my lists because that's what works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. I'm not sure what Jeanette uses as far as like what to get done, but you end up being able to develop processes, and that's why that productivity tracker is so important. And you can develop processes that can actually say, okay, I've only got a half an hour today, so this is what I have to do.
Yep.
There's some days that maybe you have no availability, but you're going to usually know that beforehand. And we will actually have strategies on what you can do to help you in those days that you don't have any time, and how you can make sure you're prepared for them if something like that happens and you didn't know it was coming, or if you know it's coming, how to prepare for that. So we will go through all that stuff.
It's like creating a habit.
Mhm.
You have your non-negotiables, you just have to find time, and it doesn't have to be the same every day. Like some days I would work on it for like 3 hours, and then some days I was work on it for 10 minutes. Like
Yep.
it's like give and take. It doesn't have to be like you hear people say you can do this in 1 to 2 hours a day. And then people feel like I have to do this 1 to 2 hours a day. It's not the case. You have to find what works for you. It could be a half hour in the morning. It could be a half hour at night. It could be 2 hours in the morning and then you're done. Or, like you have to figure out your flow based on your schedule. It's not the same for everybody.
It's
But we
not
can
the same for
definitely,
everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's different for everyone.
Because we would love to have everybody in there. And because this is a lot of the stuff that we struggled with in the beginning. And if you are stuck in your business right now, then I think this is really going to help you get over some of your hurdles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the one thing too that does come after each one of these, so each day should be probably about an hour, give or a take. We'll get through the material, but then we'll have a question and answer afterward so that you can ask whatever you want. So
Mhm. Yep. And then it'll all be recorded and you'll have it forever. Yeah, if you're interested, drop a hashtag me, shoot me or Jill a message in Messenger, and then you can always ask questions in the group. Just like we say in these groups, if you have a question, post it in the group. Like that's what it's there for.
there
So
will be a question, thread inside the group
yep.
so that you can ask a question and get it answered whenever you have one.
Yeah.
So, and if you
Um
have any questions about any of the content that we've covered here today, then
mhm.
feel free to drop questions here.
The format is going to be just like we're doing here. It's going to be StreamYard with our two beautiful faces
Mhm.
and and it'll be in a separate Facebook group. So same format here, exactly the same.
Yeah.
So let us know if you have any questions. Again, if you guys are interested, let us know. We happen to get over all the juicy details to it.
Thanks everyone for being here, and be
Yeah,
sure to hit that heart button and
smash it
push this up
until
and
your
smash it so
finger
that
falls off. We're super excited about this and we're happy if you want to jump in. We're happy if you're not, whatever you want, but we're here to help you. And whether you've been in this for a bit and you're stuck on tech, or if you're really just in the beginning, we want to show all of you what has worked for us and what we're doing to build a business that is going to last you for a long time. All right. Thank you so much for jumping in. See you in the Vibe Tribe. See you guys. Have a good night.
good night.